You sound like a car wreck, he says. Here, you better put on this shirt so that you don't glow in the dark. Out of the window, he hands me this silly shirt. Hey, wait a minute. This is your mom's blouse. It's black, he says. That's what counts. The camouflage factor. Forget it, I say, and I give him back the Fair Gwen's blouse. Freak sighs. Okay, he says. Roll around in the ground and darken yourself. Well, that's easy, and better than wearing some dumb blouse. What about you? I ask when I'm covered with dirt, enough so I want to sneeze. Freak goes, Beware the Force, Earthling. And he stands up in the window, and I can see he's got a Darth Vader costume on, except he's not wearing the mask part. He opens the window all the way, and I lift him up and put him on my shoulders. He goes, Pledge to me your fealty. And I say, Huh? And he says, Never mind. There's no time to look up fealty. Just promise you'll do what I say. I promise. Go to the end of the block, he orders. Attempt to conceal us in the shadows. That's easy, because the street is one big shadow. It's so dark I can hardly see my feet. Or maybe I got some dirt in my eyes, but the point is, no one sees us. Because there's no one to see us. You'd never know anybody lived here, let alone a whole block of people. It's like we're on an empty planet or something. Was the real Darth Vader as tall as this? Freak asks, from where he's riding high up on my shoulders. I thought it was just a movie. You know what I mean. What's that? That is a cat that runs out from under my feet so out of nowhere sudden that my heart goes wham. Was it a black cat? Freak wants to know. Too dark to tell, I say. Are we almost there? Finally, I figure out it's hard to see because the Darth Vader cape is hanging over my eyes. But by then, we're at the end of the block and the storm drain is right there by the curb. See if you can pull it open, Freak says. He's standing with his arms folded and this expression on his face. Well, he really does look like a pint-sized Darth Vader. I hook my hands in the storm drain gate, and I give it a heave, but nothing happens. I can't budge it. Try again, he says, with his arms folded like he's the Lord of the universe. I try again, and it's like the gate is super glued or something. No one can pull it up. Freak is tugging at my legs, and he goes, Option 2 is now in effect. He reaches inside his little cape. Out comes a flashlight, one of those small kinds that look sort of like a cigarette lighter, and also a spool of kite string. I devised a special retrieval device, Freak says. Looks like a bent paperclip on a string, I say, and Freak tells me to shut up and follow orders. You hold the string, he says, and then he gets down on his knees and shines the little flashlight through the grate. Can you see it? He asks. Can you? I look, but it's hard to see anything, and it smells like something died in the storm drain, which, come to think of it, it probably did. Rats, or worse. Down there, Freak says. The beam is hitting it right now. That's a piece of junk. Wrong, says Freak, his fierce voice. It looks like a piece of junk. It may very well contain fabulous wealth. Drop the line down and see if you can hook it. I'm thinking, boy, what a butthead, rolling in the dirt for this little Darth Vader so he can play pretend games in the middle of the night. But I do what he asks. I drop the hook down, and much to my surprise, it actually hooks onto something. And when I pull it up on the kite string, I can see what it is. A purse, I say. Looks like a grotty old purse. Careful, Freak says. Pull it up to the grate so I can grab the strap. I bring it up an inch at a time. And Freak, manages to get his small hands down through the grate and grab hold of this soggy old purse, and then he almost drops it. I yank up on the kite string, and we both manage to squeeze the slimy purse through the bars. Whew! Mission accomplished, Freak says. The old purse is torn and wet, and I don't want to touch it unless I have gloves on. Gross, I say. Somebody must have flushed this down the toilet. No way, Freak says. I saw one of Tony D's punks stuff it down there yesterday morning. Yeah? They must have stole it. No doubt, Freak says, and he opens the clasp, And he points the little light inside the purse. By now I know there isn't going to be any treasure, but still this is pretty cool. Recovering stuff from Blade's gang, ripped off from some little old lady or whatever. A wallet, Freak says, and he flips open the cheap-looking wallet. The kind that's made to hold credit cards. There's no money inside, but there is a plastic ID card. And on the plastic ID card is a lady's name. Loretta Lee, Freak says. I'll bet you anything she's a damsel in distress. Which, as it turns out, is almost true. The real deal is that she's the damsel who causes distress, which we find out the very next day. So when we have a phrase like, she causes distress, which we find out the very next day, do you know what lit term that is using? That is when the author is using foreshadowing. They kind of give a hint about something before it happens. If you see someone's shadow, you have a clue that someone's there, but you haven't seen them yet. Foreshadowing, something is going to happen.